When we left off, Joon had been given an impossible choice. Kill Miriam and prove his loyalty to the syndicate, or refuse and watch them both die slowly. He chose to save her. Sent her to the airport with his contact, thinking if she ran far enough, fast enough, maybe she'd survive. But what Joon didn't know was that Kaito's offer was never real. It was a trap. And by the time he realizes it, Miriam will already be in their hands. This is the story of how love became a weapon, how trust became a death sentence, and how sometimes the only way to save someone is to destroy everything you've ever known. If you haven't watched part 1, stop right now and go back. You need to see how we got here. And if you're continuing from part 1, hit that subscribe button because this ending is going to wreck you in the best possible way. Miriam sat in the back of the car, watching Seoul's lights blur past the window. Joon's contact, a quiet man named Chen, drove in silence. Her bag was on the seat beside her. 1 week's worth of clothes, her passport, the little money she had, everything she owned in the world, and it all fit in one bag. She kept checking her phone. No messages from Joon. He'd promised to text when it was safe, when he'd convinced them to let her go. But her screen stayed dark, and with every passing minute, the knot in her stomach tightened. How long to the airport? Her voice sounded hollow. 20 minutes. Chen's eyes flicked to the rearview mirror, then back to the road, then to the mirror again. What's wrong? Nothing. Just checking. But she'd seen Joon do the same thing enough times to know what it meant. They were being followed. Her heart kicked into overdrive. Someone's behind us. Yes. Since when? Since we left the apartment. Chen's hands tightened on the wheel. I'm sorry, Miss Bello. I tried to lose them. I can't. Cold flooded her veins. What does that mean? It means Joon's plan won't work. They were always going to follow you. They want to see if you'll lead them to something. Or someone. I don't know anything. I don't have anything. I believe you. Chen's voice was gentle. But they don't. And now? He looked in the mirror again. His face went pale. Hold on. The car behind them accelerated, slammed into their rear bumper. Miriam screamed, thrown forward against her seatbelt. Chen jerked the wheel, trying to evade, but the car hit them again. Harder this time. Metal crunching, glass shattering. They spun. The world tilted. Miriam's head cracked against the window. Pain exploded through her skull. Then everything went dark. When she woke, she wasn't in the car anymore. She was in a chair. Wrists zip-tied to the armrests. Head pounding. Vision blurry. She blinked, trying to focus. A warehouse. Empty except for a few chairs and a table. Industrial lights hanging from the ceiling, casting harsh shadows. And Kaito, standing in front of her with that same cold smile. Good. You're awake. He pulled up a chair, sat backward on it, arms crossed over the back. We were worried we'd hit you too hard. Head injuries are so unpredictable. Where's Chen? Chen is fine. A little bruised, but alive. We don't kill people unnecessarily, Miss Bello. Only when we have to. Her wrists burned against the zip ties. She pulled anyway, instinct overriding logic. Let me go. I will. Eventually. But first, we need to have a conversation about your father. Ice crawled down her spine. I don't know anything about my father's work. So everyone keeps saying. Joon said it. You said it. And maybe it's even true. Kaito leaned forward. But here's the thing, your father was smart. Paranoid, but smart. And paranoid people don't just hide evidence. They hide it somewhere meaningful. Somewhere only someone who loves them would think to look. I've looked. There's nothing. Have you? His eyes bored into hers. Or have you been too busy falling for the man sent to kill you to really think about it? Heat flooded her face despite the terror. I don't. Please. I have photos of you two practically devouring each other in that kitchen. Save the denials. He stood. Started pacing. Your father sent a message before he died. Said he had insurance. Evidence that could destroy us. Bank accounts. Names. Operations. Everything we've built over 20 years. And he hid it somewhere we'd never find it. But you could. Why would I help you? Because if you don't, Joon dies. He said it so casually, like he was discussing the weather. He's at our headquarters right now, thinking he's negotiating for your freedom. But there's nothing to negotiate. The moment you got in that car, You were already ours. The only question is whether you cooperate or watch him suffer first. Her stomach lurched. You're lying. Joon would never. Never what? Let them hurt you? Kaito pulled out his phone, showed her a live feed. Joon in a room similar to this one, surrounded by 5 armed men. His hands were bound behind his back. Blood dripped from a cut above his eye, but he was alive. For now. Stop, she whispered. Please stop hurting him. Then help us find what your father hid. I don't know where it is. Think harder. Kaito crouched in front of her, his face inches from hers. Your father loved you. Before he died, did he give you anything? Say anything? Leave you anything that seemed odd? She thought back. Those final days. Her father distracted, stressed. He'd hugged her longer than usual. Keep being strong, Miriam. No matter what happens. Then he was gone. Car accident. Quick. Painless. Except it wasn't an accident. And probably wasn't painless either. He didn't give me anything. Her voice cracked. Just told me to be strong. Kaito studied her face. You're telling the truth. You really don't know. He stood, frustrated. Fine. Then we do this the hard way. What does that mean? He gestured to his men. 2 of them moved toward her. It means we take you back to your apartment and tear it apart. Every book, every photo, every piece of clothing. If it's there, we'll find it, and you'll watch. They brought her back to Yuna's apartment at 3 in the morning. Yuna was gone, probably at her mother's place, staying away like Joon had told her to. The apartment was dark, empty. Kaito's men went through everything, systematically, methodically, tearing apart the couch cushions, dumping out drawers, ripping books off shelves. Miriam sat on a chair, hands still bound, watching them destroy the place that had become her home. Where would a Nigerian businessman hide something in his daughter's life? Kaito mused, more to himself than to her. Something she'd keep, but not examine closely. Something sentimental. Photos. The thought hit her like lightning. Her father had given her a photo album before he died. Old pictures from Nigeria. Family memories. She'd brought it to Seoul. Kept it in her storage unit on campus because there wasn't room in Yuna's apartment. Kaito saw her face change. You thought of something. No, don't lie. Your eyes gave you away. He moved closer. Where is it? I don't know what you're... He backhanded her. Pain exploded across her cheek. She tasted blood. Where is it? Tears burned her eyes. She could lie. Could send them on a wild chase. But then what? They'd kill Joon. Then come back for her. Then probably kill Yuna too, just to be thorough. Or she could tell them. Give them what they wanted. Maybe they'd let them all go. Except she knew they wouldn't. The moment Kaito had that evidence, they were all dead anyway. Campus storage, she whispered. Building C, Unit 147. Kaito smiled. See? That wasn't so hard. He gestured to his men. Bring her. If she's lying, I want her to watch what happens to people who waste my time. The campus was deserted at 4 in the morning. They moved through shadows, avoiding security cameras out of habit. Building C was old, the storage units in the basement. Miriam's hands were still zip-tied, but they let her walk on her own. What was the point of running? They'd just shoot her. Unit 147. She gave them the code. The door rolled up with a metallic screech. Inside, boxes of her things. Textbooks, winter clothes, and in the corner, a photo album wrapped in protective plastic. Kaito grabbed it, tore off the plastic, flipped through pages of photos. Miriam as a child, her father smiling, arm around her shoulders. Family gatherings, birthday parties, normal life. Before she knew what her father really did. This is it? Kaito sounded disappointed. Just photos? That's all he gave me. He examined the album more closely, ran his fingers along the spine, pressed the backing. Then his eyes lit up. Clever. He ripped the back cover off completely. And there, hidden in a hollow compartment, was a small USB drive. Miriam's heart stopped. She hadn't known. All these years, she'd been carrying her father's insurance and never knew it. Finally, Kaito pocketed the drive. After 3 years of searching, we finally have it. He looked at Miriam. Your father was smarter than we gave him credit for. Hiding it in plain sight. You have what you want. Let us go. Let you go? He laughed. Miss Bello, you've seen our faces. You know our organization exists. You have a man who used to be our best operative completely compromised because of you. You really think we can just let you walk away? Cold understanding settled in her bones. You're going to kill us anyway. Eventually. But first, I need to verify this drive is real, that it has what we need. And if it does, I'll make it quick, painless, out of respect for your father. And Joon? Something dark crossed Kaito's face. Joon betrayed us. His death won't be quick, won't be painless. We need to make an example. Show everyone what happens when you choose feelings over loyalty. Rage flooded through her. Pure, hot rage that burned away the fear. You're a monster. No, I'm a businessman. Joon knew the rules when he joined. He broke them. Now he pays the price. Kaito gestured to his men. Bring her back to headquarters. Put her in the same room as Joon. Let them have a few hours together before he shrugged. Before the end. They brought her to a building in an industrial part of Seoul. All concrete and shadows. Down an elevator. Through corridors that smelled like mold and something metallic. Blood, maybe. Into a room where Joon was still zip-tied to a chair. He looked up when they pushed her inside. His face was worse now. Swollen. Bruised. Blood crusted under his nose. But his eyes went wide with horror when he saw her. No, you said she was on a plane. You said I lied. Kaito cut him off. She was always coming here, Joon. The only question was whether she'd cooperate. And she did. Found dear old Dad's insurance policy for us. He held up the USB drive. Which means you both outlived your usefulness. Joon's entire body went rigid. If you hurt her... You'll what? You're tied to a chair. Your hands are broken. You can barely see out of your left eye. You're not exactly in a position to make threats. Kaito pocketed the drive again. Enjoy your last few hours together. Make peace with whatever God you believe in. Someone will come for you before dawn. He left. The door closed with a heavy clang, locked from the outside. Miriam collapsed. Just sat on the floor where she'd been standing, shock finally setting in. They were going to die. In a few hours, someone would come into this room and kill them both. And there was nothing they could do about it. Miriam. Joon's voice was rough, strained. Miriam, look at me. She looked up. Even beaten and bound. He was trying to be strong for her. I'm sorry. Tears streamed down his face. I'm so sorry. I thought I could save you. I thought if I sent you away, if I faced them alone, you'd be safe. But I just made it worse. His voice broke. This is my fault. All of Feng. She crawled to him, pressed her forehead against his knee since she couldn't reach higher. It's not your fault. It's theirs. And we're going to get out of this. How? We're locked in. I can't break these ties. My hands are... He stopped, jaw clenching against pain. We're not getting out, Miriam. This is it. No. She sat back, looked at him. Really looked at him. I refuse to believe we survived this long just to die in some basement. There has to be a way. There isn't. There has to be. She was shouting now, hysteria creeping in. Because I didn't fall in love with you just to watch you die. I didn't fight this hard just to give up now. So help me figure this out, Joon. Please. He stared at her. Then something shifted in his expression. Your hands. Are they zip-tied? Yes. In front or behind? In front. Okay. That's good. He was thinking. She could see it. That tactical part of his brain kicking into gear despite the pain. Come here. Behind me. See if you can reach the ties on my wrists. She scrambled behind his chair. Her hands were bound together, but she still had some movement. She felt for the zip tie on his wrists. Found it. Pulled at it with her fingernails. It was tight. So tight it had cut into his skin. But there was a technique she'd seen it in movies. If you could get something sharp. Wait. She looked around the room. Concrete floor. Metal chair. Nothing. Except her necklace. Small silver chain with a tiny pendant. She'd been wearing it since Lagos. Her father had given it to her. The pendant had a sharp edge. She used her teeth to unclasp it, let it fall into her bound hands. Used the pendant's edge to saw at the zip tie. It was slow. Agonizing. Her hands cramped, but gradually, the plastic began to fray. "It's working," she whispered. "Joon, it's working. Keep going. You're doing great." 5 minutes. 10. Her fingers were numb, but the zip tie was weakening. She felt it give, just slightly. Kept sawing. It snapped. Joon's hands were free. He brought them around to his front, wincing at the pain. They were swollen, possibly broken, but he could move them. He turned, used his teeth to work at the ties on her wrists. Within seconds, she was free too. They stared at each other. Free. But still locked in a room in the middle of a building full of trained killers. "Now what?" she whispered. Joon stood slowly, testing his legs. Moved to the door, pressed his ear against it. 2 guards outside. Maybe more down the hallway. "Can you fight them?" "Maybe. If I had 2 working hands and wasn't half blind." He looked at her. "But I can try. When I open this door, you run. Don't look back. Don't wait for me. Just run until you find a way out of this building. I'm not leaving you." "Miriam." "No, Joon. We do this together or not at all." He looked like he wanted to argue, but there wasn't time. Outside, footsteps. Someone coming. The door opened. A guard stepped in, carrying 2 bottles of water. His eyes widened when he saw them free. Joon moved faster than Miriam thought possible for someone that injured. Grabbed the guard's gun hand, twisted. The gun went off, deafening in the small space. But the bullet hit the ceiling. Joon slammed the guard's head into the doorframe. Once, twice. He dropped. Alarms started blaring. "So much for subtle." Joon grabbed the gun, checked the clip. "Stay behind me. If I tell you to run, you run. Understand?" "Yes." They moved into the hallway. 2 more guards appeared at the end, weapons drawn. Joon fired first. The hallway erupted in noise and light. Miriam pressed herself against the wall, ears ringing. 1 guard went down. The other ducked into a doorway. "Move!" Joon grabbed her hand, pulled her in the opposite direction. They ran. More doors, more hallways, all concrete and shadow and the blaring alarm that made thinking impossible. A stairwell. They burst through the door, started climbing. Joon was slower now, his injuries catching up with him. Blood dripped from his hands. His breathing was ragged, but he kept moving. They reached the ground floor, pushed through another door into the main operations room. 20 people, all armed, all turning to look at them. And Kaito, standing in the center, the USB drive in his hand. His expression shifted from surprise to fury. "Shoot them!" Joon shoved Miriam behind him, raised his gun. But 20 against 1. Even Joon couldn't win. They were going to die. Right here. Right, the lights went out. Everything plunged into darkness. Emergency lights kicked in after 3 seconds, bathing everything in red. And in those 3 seconds of pure darkness, chaos erupted. Someone was shooting, but not at them. Kaito's men were dropping, screaming, confusion, panic. A figure appeared beside them. "This way, now!" A woman's voice. Accented. "American, maybe?" "Who friend of Chen's, move or die, your choice." They moved. The woman led them through the chaos, through a side door, down another hallway. Behind them, more gunfire, more shouting. They burst out into a loading dock. A van waited, engine running. Chen at the wheel, very much alive. "Get in!" the woman shouted. They dove into the back. The van peeled out before the door even closed. Miriam sprawled across the floor, gasping. Joon beside her, barely conscious now that the adrenaline was fading. "What?" Miriam started. "Later," the woman said. She was young, maybe 30, with sharp eyes and scars on her hands. "Right now we need to get out of Seoul before they regroup. If you're on the edge of your seat right now, smash that like button. Drop a comment. Did you see that escape coming? What do you think happens next? Because trust me, we're just getting started." They drove for an hour, out of Seoul, into the countryside. Small roads, dark and winding, finally pulled into what looked like an abandoned farmhouse. "We're clear," Chen said. "They won't track us here." The woman she introduced, herself as Sarah, former syndicate operative who'd escaped 5 years ago, helped them inside, found a first aid kit, started working on Joon's hands while Miriam watched, feeling useless and terrified and grateful all at once. "Why did you help us?" Miriam asked. "Because Joon helped me once." Sarah wrapped gauze around his swollen knuckles. 3 years ago, I wanted out. He was supposed to eliminate me. Instead, he let me go, gave me money, a new identity, told the syndicate he'd completed the assignment. She looked at Joon. "I owed you. Now, we're even. You didn't have to risk your life." "Yes, I did." She finished bandaging his hands. "Besides, taking down Kaido's operation has been a dream of mine for years, and thanks to Miss Bello here, we finally can." Miriam blinked. "What do you mean?" "The USB drive. Kaito has it, but he hasn't verified it yet, which means we have a very small window to make sure that evidence gets to the right people before he destroys it." "How?" "We don't even have it anymore." Sarah smiled. "No, but I know where he's taking it, and I know how to get it back." The plan was insane, suicidal, really, but it was the only chance they had. Kaito would take the USB drive to the syndicate's main server room to verify the contents and, if they were legitimate, destroy them. The server room was in a different building, a legitimate tech company they used as a front. High security, cameras, armed guards, impossible to infiltrate. Unless you had someone on the inside. "I still have contacts," Sarah explained. "People who want out but are too afraid. If we can get that evidence to the media, to law enforcement, to everyone simultaneously, the syndicate crumbles, and they're free." "How do we get in?" Joon asked. "We don't. You stay here and recover. Chen and I handle it." "No." Joon tried to stand. Nearly collapsed. Miriam caught him. "I'm not sitting here while you can barely stand," Sarah said gently. "Your hands are broken. Your ribs are probably cracked. You're not going anywhere." "She's right," Miriam said quietly. "You need to rest." Joon looked at her with frustration and fear and something else. "I can't lose you again." "You won't." She touched his face, careful of the bruises. "But you have to trust them. Trust me." He closed his eyes. "I hate this." "I know." She kissed his forehead. "But we're so close. Just a little bit longer." Sarah's plan involved Miriam. "You're the key," Sarah explained. "Kaido thinks you're dead or captured. He won't expect you to walk in the front door." "Walk in the front door?" "You're a university student. The tech company offers internships. You'll apply for one. Get an interview. While you're in the building, you'll plant these." She held up small devices. "Signal jammers. They'll disrupt their security for exactly 90 seconds. Long enough for Chen and me to get in, grab the drive, and get out. And if something goes wrong?" Sarah's expression was grim. "Then we all die trying." Not comforting, but honest. The next morning, Miriam walked into the tech company's gleaming lobby wearing borrowed professional clothes, her heart hammered. Every instinct screamed to run. But she thought about Joon, injured and waiting. About Yuna, who'd lose her brother if this failed. About everyone who'd suffered because of the syndicate. She approached the reception desk. "Hi, I'm here about the internship program?" The receptionist smiled. "Of course. Name?" "Miriam Bello," the woman typed. Frowned. Typed more. "I don't have you in the system." Miriam's stomach dropped. "Oh, that's strange. I submitted my application last week. Let me call upstairs." The receptionist picked up her phone. This was it. They'd know her name, would recognize it. Security would come. She'd be dead within minutes. But the receptionist hung up, smiled. "Sorry about that. System glitch. Someone will be right down to give you a tour." Miriam exhaled. Sarah's inside contact had worked. Her name was in the system. She was legitimate. A young man appeared. "Miss Bello? I'm Joon. I'll show you around." The tour took 45 minutes. Miriam planted signal jammers in 3 locations. One in the bathroom, one behind a plant in the lobby, one in the stairwell. All while smiling and asking questions about the company culture and the exciting opportunities for young professionals. Finally, Joon led her to the 3rd floor. "And this is our server room. Very high security. Only authorized personnel allowed." Miriam saw it through the glass walls. Banks of servers. And in the center, Kaito, with 2 technicians, examining something on a laptop. The USB drive. Her blood ran cold. "Interesting," she managed. "What are they doing there?" "Data management. Mostly. Very technical. Joon checked his watch. I think that's everything. Do you have any questions? Just one. She pulled out her phone, pressed a button. The signal jammers activated. All the lights in the building flickered. Went red. Alarms blared. Joon's eyes went wide. What? Miriam was already running toward the server room. The security locks had disengaged when the jammers hit. She burst through the door. Kaito spun around. Saw her. His expression shifted from shock to fury. You're supposed to be dead. I'm harder to kill than you thought. Behind Kaito, the technicians were panicking. The alarms, the security breach. Kaito pulled a gun from his jacket. This ends now! Miriam froze. She had no weapon, no training, just adrenaline and stupid reckless hope. The window exploded. Sarah crashed through in a shower of glass, gun in hand. Fired 3 shots. The technicians dropped. Kaito dove behind a server bank. Get the drive! Sarah shouted at Miriam. Miriam saw it. On the laptop still connected to the servers. She lunged for it. Kaito appeared from behind the servers, gun raised. Time slowed. She saw his finger tightening on the trigger. Knew she wouldn't be fast enough. Chen burst through the door, slammed into Kaito. They went down in a tangle of limbs. The gun skittered across the floor. Miriam grabbed the USB drive, yanked it from the laptop. Got it! Then move! Sarah was already heading for the window. We rappel down. Go! Miriam looked at the 3-story drop. You're insane! You want to take the elevator? Sarah clipped a harness onto Miriam. Hold on. This is going to suck. They jumped. The fall was terrifying. 3 stories felt like 30, but the rope caught. They hit the ground hard but alive. A car waited, not Chen's van, something else. Sarah shoved Miriam inside. Drive! Now! The driver, another of Sarah's contacts, peeled out. Behind them, Kaito appeared in the broken window, gun raised. Fired. The back window shattered. Miriam ducked, glass raining down on her. They took corners at speeds that felt impossible. More gunfire. A second car, Kaito's men pursuing. Sarah leaned out the window, returned fire. Miriam pressed her hands to her ears, the noise deafening. Almost there, Sarah said. Just a third car appeared, from a side street, slammed into Kaito's pursuit vehicle. Both cars spun out, crashed into a building. Their car didn't stop, just kept going. Miriam looked back at the wreckage. Was that Joon? Sarah smiled. Told you he wouldn't stay behind. They met at a different safe house, this one closer to the city. Joon was there, looking worse than before but alive. Miriam threw herself into his arms, careful of his injuries but unable to stay away. You were supposed to rest, she said against his chest. I was, until I heard explosions and car chases. His arms tightened around her. Then I borrowed a car and came to help. With broken hands. Mostly broken. He pulled back to look at her, wiped tears from her face. You okay? We got it. She held up the USB drive. We actually got it. Sarah took the drive carefully, like it was made of glass. Now we make sure it goes viral. Media, police, Interpol, every news outlet simultaneously. She plugged it into a laptop, started copying files. In about 10 minutes, the entire world is going to know what the syndicate has been doing. Joon watched the upload progress bar. This really ends it? It has to. Sarah's expression was grim. Bank accounts will be frozen. Warrants issued. Safe houses raided. Everyone connected will scatter like roaches when you turn on the lights. And Kaito? With this evidence? He'll spend the rest of his life in prison. If he's lucky. The upload completed. Sarah hit send. And there it goes. No taking it back now. The news broke within an hour. Headlines exploding across every major outlet. International crime syndicate exposed massive money laundering operation, revealed dozens arrested in coordinated raids. Miriam watched on the safe house TV, unable to believe it was real. 3 months ago, she'd arrived in Seoul thinking about university and making new friends. Now she was watching the destruction of a criminal empire that had killed her father. Your dad would be proud, Joon said quietly. He was beside her on the couch, injured but alive. He tried to bring them down. You finished what he started. We finished it, all of us. Sarah appeared with 3 glasses of whiskey. to the dead, to the living, and to never working for psychopaths again. They drank. The alcohol burned, but in a good way, a celebratory way. What happens now? Miriam asked. Now we disappear for a while, Sarah said. Let the authorities do their job. Lie low until the dust settles. And then you live your lives. She looked between Joon and Miriam. Whatever that looks like for you. 6 weeks later, Seoul looked different. Brighter somehow. Less threatening. Miriam walked through campus. Backpack slung over one shoulder, coffee in hand. Back to being a student. Back to normal. Except nothing was normal anymore. She reached the library steps. Joon waited there. Hands mostly healed. Bruises faded to yellow. He'd been cleared of all charges, cooperating witness, they called it. His testimony had helped put away dozens of syndicate members. Hey, she said. Hey. He took her backpack, slung it over his own shoulder despite her protests. How was class? Long. Economics is still torturous. They started walking, his hand finding hers naturally. Where's Yuna? Meeting her mom for lunch. She says hi. Yuna had forgiven them. Eventually. After yelling for 30 minutes about how they'd almost gotten themselves killed and how could they be so stupid and didn't they know she loved them both. Then she'd cried and hugged them and made them promise never to do anything that reckless again. They'd promised. Probably lied, but the intention was good. I got something today, Joon said, as they reached a quiet spot near the campus gardens. He pulled out an envelope. From Sarah. What is it? New identities, if we want them. She said we could disappear completely. New names, new country. Start over where nobody knows who we are or what happened. Miriam's heart clenched. What do you want to do? He looked at her for a long moment. I want whatever you want. That's not an answer. Yes, it is. He set the envelope down on a bench, turned to face her fully. Miriam, I've spent my entire adult life following orders, doing what I was told, being what others needed me to be, and it nearly destroyed me. But then I met you, and for the first time, I had a choice. Kill you or save you. Follow orders or follow my heart. His hands came up to cup her face. I chose you, and I'll keep choosing you, here in Seoul or anywhere else, with our real names or new ones. Whatever you want, I want, because you're it for me. Tears burned in her eyes. I want to stay. Is that crazy? After everything, I want to stay in Seoul, finish university, build a normal life. With me? Of course with you, you idiot. She pulled him down, kissed him, soft and sweet and full of promise. Always with you. He smiled against her lips. Then we stay. They sat on the bench, his arm around her shoulders, watching students rush past to classes. Normal, ordinary, exactly what they'd fought so hard for. Do you regret it? She asked quietly. Giving up your old life for me? Not for a second. He pressed a kiss to her temple. That wasn't a life. It was just existing. This, he gestured around them. The campus, the sunshine, her hand in his. This is living. 3 months after that, Miriam stood in her dorm room, packing. Not to flee, not to hide, to move. Into an apartment with Joon. Yuna helped, throwing clothes into boxes with cheerful efficiency. I can't believe you're leaving me for my brother. Betrayal of the highest order. You literally told me to move out last week. Miriam laughed. Said you needed your space. That was before I realized how quiet the apartment would be without you. Yuna threw a sweater at her. Who's going to watch terrible reality shows with me at 2 a.m.? You can visit anytime. I will, constantly. You'll get sick of me. Miriam doubted that. She pulled Yuna into a hug. Thank you. For everything. For bringing me to Seoul. For being my friend. For not hating me when I fell for your brother. I could never hate you. Yuna squeezed tight. You made him human again. Before you, he was just empty. Going through motions. Now he smiles. Laughs. Actually lives. So thank you for giving me my brother back. A knock at the door. Joon appeared, looking amused. Are we packing or having a therapy session? Both, Yuna said. It's called multitasking. He rolled his eyes but smiled. Moved to help with the boxes. His hands were fully healed now, only faint scars remaining. physical reminders of everything they'd survived. They loaded Miriam's life into Joon's car. Yuna insisted on coming along, sitting in the back and providing commentary on Joon's driving. "You're going too slow. You drive like someone's grandpa." "I drive safely." "Same thing." Miriam watched them bicker with fondness. This was what she'd wanted. Family, connection, people who loved her despite knowing every dark corner of her past. The new apartment was in a different part of Seoul. Smaller than Yuna's family place, but it was theirs. First floor with a small balcony overlooking a garden. Joon had signed the lease 2 weeks ago, but waited for her to officially move in. "What do you think?" He was nervous, she realized, worried she wouldn't like it. "It's perfect." His shoulders relaxed. "Yeah?" "Yeah." She took his hand. "It's home." That night, after Yuna left and the boxes were mostly unpacked, Miriam stood on the balcony, watching the city. Seoul at night was beautiful, all neon and possibility. Joon came up behind her, wrapped his arms around her waist. "What are you thinking about?" "My father. Wondering if he'd be proud or horrified by what we did." "Probably both." His chin rested on her shoulder. "Parents are complicated. Like that." "Do you think about your father?" "Sometimes. He died when I was 16. Heart attack." Joon's arms tightened slightly. "I think he'd understand why I left the syndicate. He never wanted that life for me. Just wanted me to be safe, to be happy." "Are you happy?" "Yes." He turned her to face him. "I spent years convinced I didn't deserve happiness, that I'd done too many terrible things to ever have something good. Then you walked into my life and proved me wrong." His hand came up to tuck a strand of hair behind her ear. "You make me believe I can be better, that my past doesn't define my future." "It doesn't. You're not that person anymore." "No, I'm not." He kissed her forehead. "I'm whoever you need me to be. I just need you to be you. Then that's what I'll be." They stood there on the balcony, wrapped in each other, watching Seoul breathe below them. Two people who'd survived the impossible, who'd chosen love over survival, each other over safety. "Do you ever wonder what would have happened if you'd completed your assignment?" Miriam asked quietly. "Every day." His voice was rough. "I wonder who I would have become if I'd killed you, if I'd crossed that final line, and I'm grateful I'll never have to know." "Me too." Inside, Miriam's phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. She tensed automatically old habits, but when she read it, she smiled. "It's Sarah. She says Kaito was sentenced today. 40 years. No parole." Joon read over her shoulder. "Good. He deserves more, but it's something." She also says 3 more syndicate operations were shut down using our evidence. 60 people freed from forced labor situations. "Your father's insurance policy is still paying out." Joon pulled her closer. "All that pain, all those years of hiding the truth, it meant something in the end." Miriam thought about that. Her father, carrying the weight of terrible secrets, hiding evidence in a photo album, hoping his daughter would never need it, but knowing she might, dying to protect her from a world she didn't know existed. "I wish I could tell him thank you," she said. "Tell him I understand now, that I don't blame him. Maybe he knows." Joon's voice was gentle. "Wherever he is." Life settled into a rhythm. Miriam attended classes. Joon started working as a security consultant for a legitimate firm, using his skills to protect people instead of hurt them. They had dinner with Yuna twice a week, went to movies, studied together late at night. Normal couple things. Except sometimes Miriam would wake from nightmares, the warehouse, the zip ties, Kaito's gun pointed at her head. And Joon would be there, holding her, reminding her she was safe now. And sometimes, Joon would disappear into himself, go quiet and distant, haunted by ghosts of people he'd hurt in his old life. And Miriam would pull him back, remind him who he was now. They healed each other, piece by piece. 6 months after moving in together, Joon came home with flowers. Not just any flowers, purple orchids, Miriam's favorites. "What's the occasion?" she asked, taking them. "No occasion. Just wanted to." But he looked nervous, actually nervous. "Joon, what's going on?" He took her hand, led her to the balcony. The sun was setting, painting Seoul in gold and amber. "Do you remember the first time we stood here? The night you moved in?" "Of course. You asked if I was happy." I said yes. He turned to face her fully. But I didn't tell you that I'd never been happy before that moment. Not once in my entire life. I'd been content, satisfied, accomplished. But happy? That was something other people got to feel. Joon, let me finish. He smiled, but his eyes were suspiciously bright. You changed everything, Miriam. You made me believe I deserved good things, that I could be more than my worst mistakes. And every day I get to spend with you is a gift I know I don't deserve but am selfish enough to keep anyway. He pulled something from his pocket. A small box. Miriam's breath caught. I know we haven't been together that long. I know we probably should wait. Do things the traditional way. He opened the box. A simple silver ring with a small diamond. Nothing flashy, just perfect. But I've spent enough of my life waiting, following rules, being careful, and I don't want to wait anymore. He got down on one knee right there on the balcony, with Seoul's sunset behind him and love written all over his face. Miriam bellowed, "Will you marry me?" Tears streamed down her face. Happy tears this time. Yes, God, yes. He slipped the ring on her finger with shaking hands, stood, pulled her into a kiss that tasted like salt and happiness and forever. When they broke apart, both laughing and crying, Miriam looked at the ring on her finger, caught the light, sparkled. When did you get this? 3 months ago. Been carrying it around, waiting for the right moment. This was the right moment. Yeah. He pulled her close, swayed gently like they were dancing to music only they could hear. It really was. That night, they called Yuna. She screamed so loud they had to hold the phone away from their ears, demanded to be maid of honor immediately, started planning the wedding before they'd even set a date. They called Miriam's mother in Nigeria. She cried, asked when she could meet the man who'd stolen her daughter's heart. They promised to visit soon. Sarah sent a text. About time. I'm not wearing a bridesmaid dress though, just so we're clear. Chen sent congratulations and a bottle of very expensive champagne. Everyone they loved was happy for them, everyone who mattered. Miriam stood on the balcony later that night, ring on her finger, Joon's arms around her waist, thinking about everything that had led them here. The danger, the fear, the impossible choices. Do you think it was all worth it? She asked. Everything we went through? What do you think? He kissed her temple. She thought about it. Really thought. About it. The trauma. The nightmares. The scars they both carried. Against the happiness. The love. This moment right here. Yes, she said finally. I think it was worth it. Me too. They stayed there as Seoul's lights flickered on below them. Two people who'd survived the impossible and found each other in the wreckage. Who'd turned a story that should have ended in tragedy into something beautiful. I love you, Miriam said. I love you too. Joon's arms tightened. More than I thought I was capable of loving anything. Even though I was supposed to be your target? Especially because of that. He turned her to face him, serious and sincere. You weren't just my target, Miriam. You were my salvation. The reason I found my way back to being human. And I'll spend the rest of my life being grateful you were too stubborn to run when you should have. She laughed, pulled him down for another kiss. Well, someone had to save you from yourself. Lucky me. 1 year later, they got married. A small ceremony in Seoul. Yuna cried through the entire thing. Sarah actually wore a dress, though she kept her combat boots on, claiming they were more practical. Chen walked Miriam down the aisle since her father couldn't. Joon cried when he saw her. Didn't even try to hide it. Just stood there at the altar with tears streaming down his face, looking at her like she'd hung the moon. The vows were simple. I promise to choose you, Joon said, every single day for the rest of my life. I promise to be stubborn enough to keep you, Miriam said, even when you try to protect me by pushing me away. They exchanged rings, kissed, and Seoul's sunset painted everything gold. At the reception, Yuna gave a speech that made everyone laugh and cry. My brother was lost for a long time, she said. Empty, going through motions. Then Miriam walked into our apartment and literally saved his life. Not because she did anything special, just because she was herself. And that was enough. So thank you, Miriam, for being exactly who you are. For being stubborn and brave and stupid enough to fall for an assassin. Everyone laughed. And Joon, if you hurt her, I'll kill you myself. I know. Joon said, smiling. I'm counting on it. 2 years after that, Miriam graduated from Korea University with honors. Joon was in the front row, cheering louder than anyone else. Yoona beside him with a sign that said, "My best friend is smarter than your best friend." They celebrated at the same cafe where Joon had first watched her with Min-Joon. Full circle. What now? Joon asked. You can do anything. Go anywhere. What do you want? Miriam looked at her diploma, at her husband, at the life they'd built from ashes and impossible choices. I want to help people like my father helped. Like Sarah helps. People trying to escape situations they can't escape alone. That's dangerous. I know. She took his hand. But I learned from the best. He smiled. Then we do it together. Always. Together. And they did. Started a small organization helping people escape trafficking situations. Using Joon's skills and Miriam's determination and the network of contacts Sarah had built over years, they saved lives, made differences, turned their trauma into purpose. 5 years after the night Miriam found that laptop, they sat on their balcony watching Seoul breathe below them. A child slept inside a little girl they'd adopted 6 months ago, rescued from a trafficking ring using the evidence network they'd helped build. Do you ever miss it? Miriam asked quietly. Your old life? Never. Joon's answer was immediate. That wasn't a life. It was just existence. This, he gestured, to their home, to their sleeping daughter, to her. This is everything I didn't know I needed. Even though it's complicated and messy and sometimes we still have nightmares, especially because of that. He pulled her closer. Perfect is boring. I'll take complicated and real over perfect any day. Miriam leaned into him, watched the city lights blur. I used to think love was supposed to be easy, safe, predictable. And now? Now I know love is choosing someone even when it's hard, even when it's dangerous, even when every logical part of your brain says run. She looked up at him. I know love is finding someone worth fighting for, and refusing to let go. Sounds exhausting. It is, she smiled. But I wouldn't change a single moment. Not even the part where you discovered I was sent to kill you? Especially not that part. She kissed him, soft and sweet. Because that's when I knew. That's when I saw who you really were underneath all the training and violence. Someone who'd give up everything for a person he barely knew. Someone brave enough to choose love over orders. You make me sound heroic. I was just selfish. You were perfect. I was terrified. Me too. She settled against his chest. But we did it anyway. Inside! Their daughter cried. They both moved automatically. Joon got there first, picked her up gently. Hey, sweetheart. Bad dream? She nodded, still half asleep. He carried her to the balcony, let her see the city lights. Miriam wrapped them both in a blanket. The lights are pretty, their daughter mumbled. They are, Joon agreed. See how they sparkle? Each one is someone's home, someone's family. All those lights mean all those people are safe tonight. Are we safe? Yes. He kissed her forehead. We're very safe. I promise. She fell back asleep in his arms. Miriam watched them, her husband, holding their daughter, Seoul glittering below them, and felt her heart swell so full it hurt. This was what they'd fought for. Not just survival. Not just revenge or justice or closure. This moment of peace, of family, of love that had survived the impossible. Thank you, she whispered to Joon. For what? For choosing me. For not completing your assignment. For being brave enough to fall. He looked at her over their sen, daughter's sleeping head. Thank you for being stubborn enough not to run. For seeing something in me worth saving. Always. Always, he echoed. And as Seoul breathed below them, as their daughter slept peacefully in her father's arms, as the future stretched out bright and uncertain and theirs, Miriam knew with absolute certainty that she'd make the same choices again, would fall for the same dangerous man, would risk everything for the same impossible love. Because sometimes the greatest love stories aren't the easy ones. They're the ones that break you first, test you constantly, and forge you into something stronger on the other side. They're the ones worth fighting for. If you've made it this far, you're a superstar. You've witnessed one of the most dangerous love stories ever told. Drop a comment telling me, would you have run when you had the chance, or stayed and fought like Miriam? Could you forgive someone who was sent to kill you? Hit that like button if this story absolutely destroyed you in the best way. And subscribe, because we have so many more stories coming. Stories about impossible choices, dangerous love, and people who refuse to give up even when everything says they should. Thank you for being on this journey with Miriam and Joon. For watching them survive the impossible. For believing that love can conquer even the darkest circumstances. Until next time, remember, sometimes the most dangerous thing you can do is fall for the right person at the wrong time. But if you're brave enough, stubborn enough, and willing to fight for it, sometimes that's exactly what saves you. See you in the next story.